son?
Game day.
What day?
Game day.
It's time to play the game. Time to play the game.
Get ready for a game day edition of CBJ in 30.
Game on!
Yeah, game on.
Hear from the players and coaches as the Blue Jackets get set to hit the ice. Join the discussion on Twitter by using the hashtag CBJ in 30. Here's your host, Bob McElligott.
A Monday night party! This is Hank and I'm ready. Let's get this picture started. Let's paint this town and do it up right. All my rowdy friends are here on Monday night.
It is a very special Monday night at Nationwide Arena. The New York Rangers are here to take on the Blue Jackets. That normally is enough excitement in and of itself. But tonight, there's a little cherry being put on top of the sundae as this game is going to be sent out to a national audience as it will be broadcast on NBC Sports Network. Welcome to a game day edition of CBJ in 30. I'm your host, Bob McElligott. And oh, by the way, before I get any further, let me remind you, since it is on national television tonight, the only local broadcast of the Blue Jackets that you will get this evening is with me on the Blue Jackets radio network. Blue Jackets come into this game after a big win on Saturday. Really big win, as a matter of fact. They beat the Detroit Red Wings. 2-1 was the final. It was a game that had a lot of energy. It was a game that had a lot of speed. It didn't have very much scoring, but that didn't mean there wasn't excitement in that game because there were scoring chances galore for both teams. Both goaltenders played well, but at the end of the game, and I mean at the very last tenth of a second of the game, the Blue Jackets were able to hold on and get the win. The final shot that the Red Wings took came from the left wing circle from Thomas Vanek, and it rang off the goalpost as the horn was sounding. So it was very exciting, and it was a very important 2 points for the Blue Jackets because with those 2 points, what they did was they bettered themselves in the Metropolitan Division standings. Washington is still in first place. The Blue Jackets and the Penguins wind up trading spots. The Penguins lost on Saturday in overtime in Arizona. And even though they're tied in points, the Blue Jackets and the Penguins, the Blue Jackets are ahead via the tiebreaker right now. So they sit in second place in the Metropolitan Division coming into this game. But do not get comfortable because not only are you tied in points with the Penguins, but the team that you are playing tonight, the New York Rangers, are red hot. They have won 5 straight games, and because of those 5 wins, they are sitting 2 points behind the Blue Jackets and the Penguins. How about this race? You are 1 loss away from falling into a wild card spot, and you have more points than a lot of other teams that are in the playoff picture in the NHL. Is it fair? No, it's not fair, but you're playing in the best division in hockey. Deal with it. And the Blue Jackets have been dealing with it throughout the course of the season, so they've got to deal with it again tonight, and their coach has them ready to deal with it. Don't believe me? Well, then perk up your ears. It's time for my exclusive one-on-one game day conversation with the head coach of the Blue Jackets, John Tortorella.
It's really a tale of 2 games, the last 2 games that you've played. The Vancouver game, flat, non-emotional. The game against Detroit the other night, quite the opposite. It was 2-1. It was exciting all the way through. How good could that potentially be for your team to play a game like that?
Yeah, and now we come into playing the Rangers, where I think there's going to be instant emotion. I thought we put in a lot of good minutes against Detroit. I thought we played, as you say, with much more emotion, and we just got to stay consistent with this here. And I think some of the video and some of the things we've gone about with our business here, we've tried to just redefine ourselves in that part of it. I think it's helped, and I'm anxious to see how we play tonight. There won't be any problem with emotion tonight.
Speaking of that, you've got the Rangers tonight. The Maple Leafs are here Wednesday. The Penguins come in on Friday. This looks like it could be an easy week to coach, at least from the motivational standpoint. You shouldn't have to do much, should you?
No, I won't have to say much. No, and they love playing. You know, we have 4 games before we break, and we won't have a lot of practice time. We'll just move the blood in between the games and let them play. And yeah, I'm anxious to see how we go about our business here. With we kind of have that in a little bit of a capsule now with our break coming up. This is an important week for us to grab a hold of our emotion and let's play. And so we'll see where we go.
You know, speaking of coaching, when you first started, I'm sure that every day you could give somebody a kick in the butt and you would get the result that you wanted out of that. This generation is more put your arm around the shoulder, talk to me, tell me what I'm doing wrong. It's not always that kick in the butt. Do you, as you go through this every day, especially with this young team and wanting to get them in the right frame of mind, do you think about that, and do you have to adjust day to day in that area?
Yeah, you do. And I think it's a big part of being a coach in all pro sports now is adjusting yourself to what the athlete is. This athlete today, from what it was 5 years ago, let's forget about 10 years ago, it's a total different athlete. And there's some sensitivity involved in it. But it depends on the individual. You know, I got a guy in there, Jack Johnson, who is just a crusty, give it to me straight, and he'll give it to you straight. So that's the neatest part about coaching is seeing the interaction between the players when this subject comes up. And it's my responsibility. My whole goal is, how do I reach that player? If I have to put an arm around him to make him play better, I'm going to do it. If I have to kick you, I'm going to do it. That's the read on the coach, and that's probably one of the most difficult things to do is because you're dealing with the mind, and you can't peel the head like a banana and say, okay, there's the button right there, push it. You got to find your way there, but it's the most intriguing part for me.
Maybe this is an unfair comparison, but I'll say you don't talk to Jack Johnson the same way you talk to Alexander Wennberg if you went with the same approach.
Not a chance. No.
Exactly. All right. The last time you played the Rangers, you got out to a huge lead, and then they got back into the game. You talked about how it was a weird game, and it was, nothing about it. But they've gotten hot since then, and you mentioned how the emotion of playing the Rangers. You don't have to worry about that, but you do have to worry about their skill. And Michael Grabner's one guy that's kind of slipped behind the defense. Not just against you. He's doing it all year. When he's on the ice, how do you guys find him and know where he is at all times?
You got to watch him leaving early. Because that's part of his play is if he sees a 50-50 puck in the end zone, defensive zone, he's taking off. And if he takes off and you don't have some ice in front of him, you're not going to catch him. He's that fast. I think he's done a really good job of anticipating when to leave. We have to know when he's on the ice. I mean, they have Grabner, they got Chris Kreider. You got to be, and there's set plays for those guys. They're throwing passes from 140 feet because they know those guys are skating. So we just got to be aware when they're on the ice and try to control that neutral zone.
I don't know if he plays tonight or not, but Henrik Lundqvist reached 400 wins in his last outing. You were his coach for a long time. I know you have a lot of respect for him. How proud are you of him for reaching that milestone?
Yeah, I am. It's pretty neat. If you know Henrik is probably one of the fiercest competitors in the game. His preparation, I look at him and Bob, I'm not sure who prepares harder. They wear you out watching them prepare before they even play the game. So good for him. He's been the backbone of that organization for quite a while. I think it's a great milestone, and he's a good man.
Speaking of Sergei, we talked about him a couple of weeks ago, within the last 2 weeks, about, maybe was down a little bit from where he was earlier in the year. Is it fair to say he's the reason you won that game Saturday?
Yeah, he made some big saves at key times, and we had a couple of breakdowns, and he stood tall. And what happens if he doesn't stop the first scoring chance against us and they score on their breakaway? Does it set the tone again like for the prior game, as in Vancouver? I saw him take a huge step in the right direction to where he's been most of this year.
One last thing here. I'm just realizing when I'm talking to you about Lundqvist, I talked to you about the Sedins the other day. I'm supposed to not like any of these players because they're going up against the Blue Jackets, and you draw me in and you make me have feelings for other players. It really irritates me.
Yeah, you got to remember they're people too, and I've been very fortunate to coach some pretty good players. So I hate them when we're playing against them, but when you stop and you get away from the game, there's some really good people in our game.
All right, fair enough. Torts, good luck tonight.
All right, man.
He's right, as usual. There are some very good people in this game, and that's why I love this game. That's why I am happy to be a part of this game. That's why I never take for granted every second that I am allowed to be in this game in some capacity. So he's absolutely right, but it doesn't make it any easier, man. I really don't want to like these people. It's a lot easier when you don't like them. But all kidding aside, Henrik Lundqvist, a great accomplishment for him to get the 400 wins as a goaltender. That happens when you are with a good team, let's be honest. And the New York Rangers have been a good team for a long time. I'm suspecting that Antti Ranta is going to play tonight, and that doesn't mean that you get the night off if you're the Blue Jackets, because he's had a very good season and is a very capable backup. The Rangers have set themselves up very nicely that when Lundqvist needs a day off, they have a very capable guy to go in there and be able to take over the reins and still get them a win. So it's not going to be easy, even if Lundqvist is not playing in this game tonight. Now, you heard me asking John Tortorella about his coaching philosophies and the way he goes about things, and there was a report that surfaced over the weekend saying that basically his players met with him and they've kind of asked him to back off a little bit, find some more positive things to talk about than the negative things. So you heard how he addressed that, and I don't know what happened there. He wouldn't talk about it. He was asked directly about that earlier today. He would not address it. He came up with his standard answer, which I knew he would, and that's why I phrased the question the way I did, because I just want to get in his mind and the way that he's approaching it. But he said earlier today when he was talking in front of the full media that what happens in the dressing room stays in the dressing room. That's between him and the team, and he's not going to bring it out into the public and into the open and talk about it. And I respect that. That is their fortress of solitude. When that door closes, that is their fortress of solitude. You know, Superman used to fly to the North Pole to get that solitude. They go into that room, which always makes me feel weird when we're in there getting interviews pregame and postgame, because that's their area and we just go in and bombard them, and but we're allowed to do that, so that's what we do. That's just part of the nature of the game. But so he doesn't want to talk about what went on in the room and what specific conversations took place, or whether they even took place. He wouldn't even say that. But here's the thing. I could see where that's very possible, and it's because of what he talked about. Today's athlete, there is a lot of sensitivity there. And you know me by now, and you know that drives me crazy, and that drives a guy like him crazy, because I want to just be able to come up and tell you exactly what I think and exactly what I think you need to do to correct the problem. I want to tell you what the problem is. I want to address the problem with you. I want to tell you what I think you need to do to fix the problem, and I want you to go fix the problem. It's as simple as that. But it's not simple anymore, because if you ask in the wrong way, if you have the wrong tone of voice, somebody's going to get their feelings hurt. And they're not going to listen, or they're going to go, in my case, they're going to go cry to my boss and somebody else. And then they're going to come down on me and say, you have to be a little bit more sensitive. I didn't grow up in sensitive times, okay? And I'm not old, but I didn't grow up in sensitive times. But it's like Tort said, the player 5 years ago was different than today's player. The player 10 years ago was 180 degrees different from today's player. So that's just the way it is. You can like it, you can hate it, doesn't matter. You've got to deal with it. And so he is dealing with it. But, you know me. I am of the opinion that if you don't have thick skin, you're not going to make it very far, because you're never going to like everything that's told to you. You're never going to like the criticism you get, even if it's constructive criticism. You don't have to like it. You just have to react to it, and you just have to fix what's wrong. It's as simple as that. But anyway, he made his point, and that's what I said. I wanted to get inside of his head and see what his philosophy is on that and how he thinks. And, I'm sure at times it's maddening. It's maddening for me when I'm dealing with young people. Like I said, I want to go, boom. When I have an intern that I'm talking to, this is a standard line, and I tell them this, and I'm not lying. I say, I'm not a hand holder. I'm not a hand holder. What I will do is I will give you a project, and what I want you to do is I want you to do that project, and I want you to do it the way you think that it should be done. Because I'm not the kind of guy that at the end I'm going to come back and go, what is that? That's not what I was thinking of at all. Just get the job done. Now, if you have questions or you need something along the way, I am right there. You can ask me whatever you want. I will help you in any way I can. But if you think that I'm going to stand over you and say, are you doing this? Are you doing that? Did you get this done? Or have you planned ahead on this part of it? I'm not going to do that. I'm not a hand holder like that, okay? So you need to figure it out. You need to put on your big boy pants or big girl pants, whatever it is, and you have got to figure it out, and that's going to make you a better person. And the same is true in sports with athletes. It's going to make you a better person, but they might not want to hear it, or they might not like to hear it. So it's all about the approach. Remember what Tort said a couple of games ago when I talked to him, when he said, I wish people would just get the message and not pay attention to the way it's delivered. So that is kind of a little, maybe that was a little sign that there was something going on and a conversation had to happen. I don't know. Speculating, throwing it against the wall to see what sticks here. But, he did say that. And I understand what he means, because I'm quick to snap, and I can yell at you. I can yell at you and be upset with you, and 5 minutes later I can be the nicest guy in the world to you. I just got to get it off my chest. That's all. I've got to get it off my mind. I've got to get it off my chest. And once I do that, it's over. And we just go back. Now, a lot of people can't adjust to that because they hold on to it and they think I'm still mad at them, and then they'll cower away from me and all that stuff. So, no, I understand. I understand my own faults. I get it. But I just don't have time for that really making you feel good about doing what I'm asking you to do. Just go do it. Just go do it, and we'll talk later, and it'll be fine. It'll be fun. So, again, I understand the whole thing, and he is understanding it as well, and he's adjusting. And, it's the you can't teach old dogs new tricks. Well, yeah, you can. And the old dog has to come up with a few new tricks in this day and age so that he can keep on doing what he's doing, and John Tortorella is well aware of that. Well, Alexander Wennberg is a guy that has shown that he's had a lot of tricks up his sleeve throughout the course of the season. It's his third year as a pro in the NHL. He is doing a fantastic job. He's kind of backed off a little bit like the other members of his top line, but it's kind of just a blip on the radar screen, I think. I expect this guy to turn it up along with his line mates as we go throughout the course of the next couple of weeks here. And I had a chance to catch up with Alexander Wennberg and talk to him about the Detroit game and what that could potentially mean for this team throughout the rest of the year.
How exciting is it to play against the New York Rangers every time you get the chance to do it?
Oh, it's fun games. I mean, there's a high-scoring team, and it feels like every time we play them, there's something exciting happening. So it's a big game, an important one, and we're looking forward to it.
Last time you played them, you went into their building, you put 6 on them, and then all of a sudden they came back. And really, after that game, they've just kept going. They kind of played every game the way they played the end of that game against you guys, and they're very hot right now. What do you have to do to slow them down?
No, we can. I mean, obviously they're playing really good right now, but I think it comes down to our game. We got to stay disciplined. We got to play smart in defensive zone, and after that, we just got to get some pucks to the net. And if we do that, we're going to win this game.
And when you talk about playing your game and playing smart, the neutral zone is going to be important here tonight too, isn't it? With guys that have speed like Kreider and Grabner, the way that they can beat you in the neutral zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, we're aware what type of hockey they play, and like you said, we focus on our stuff, and we're a really good team when we forecheck, when we skate, and I mean, obviously they're going to come with a lot of speed, but we kind of like that type of hockey.
Speaking of your game, 2-1 win on Saturday against Detroit. It's a tight game. It was an exciting game. It had a lot of energy to it. How fun was it to play?
No, it's a lot of fun, and I mean, with the crowd, I think it was like 19,000 in the building or something. It's always exciting. Everyone gets fired up for that, and it was a big 2 points for us. So, I mean, we're coming in with a good momentum to this game.
Did you guys need a game like that, a tight game that you come out on the winning side of?
I don't know need it, but I mean, coming after that game, winning a tight game like that, you always get a little boost from that one. So we just try to build on that one, and hopefully it will help us out this game.
But maybe kind of a reminder, for lack of a better word, of how good you guys can be when you're playing your game and you play it for 60 full minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, the whole team, everyone in this locker room know how good we can be. And what's been a little frustrated is that we have more potential than we've probably shown the last, 16 games or something. So Detroit was just stepping in the right direction, and we just try to build on that.
Let me ask you this. When Sergei Bobrovsky makes that save on Thomas Tatar early in the game, did that set the tone for that game?
Absolutely. I mean, Bob, that's his job, but he's doing a hell of a job for us making those big saves, and just makes it easy on us to just keep playing. And like I said, he's a savior.
All right, one last thing. How are you going to get that power play going?
Oh, no, it's a tough question, but we've been focused on shooting more pucks, and I think that's going to help us. And I mean, it doesn't always have to be pretty. Just puck and get some bounces, and after that, we just keep going, I guess.
All right, Alexander, thanks. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
Aha, too fancy on the power play. They've got to shoot more pucks. I absolutely positively agree with them on that. The Blue Jackets have had the number one power play in the league from day one, and it's been slipping. There's no question it's been slipping, but they got to get back to playing the same way they did early on when they earned that number one status, and that's all they did is they shot the puck. They moved it, they shot it. If it got denied, they retrieved it, they set it up, and they shot it again. And we saw that. There was a good power play against Detroit the other night. They didn't score on it, but the number one unit was out there for about 1 minute and 45 seconds, and it was that very thing. Werenski would shoot, it would get denied. Atkinson would pick it up, feed it back to Werenski, get it over to Wennberg. Wennberg would shoot it, it would get denied. Atkinson would get it, feed Foligno back to Wennberg. That's what it's about. The retrievals on the power play has been what has made this power play so good throughout the course of the season. I think they've just started to think a little bit too much. I really do. I think they're overthinking. I think I don't want to say I think they're more talented than they are, because that's not true, but I think that they try to be a little bit more skilled than they need to be. You don't need to make 3 passes to score a goal, okay? It doesn't have to be a highlight reel goal every time you score. It could be ugly. Look at Boone Jenner's goal the other day. All he's doing is tipping a shot from the blue line by Brandon Dubinsky. Is there anything fancy about that? No. Is there something really effective about that? Oh, yeah. Even the second goal, Atkinson's goal that he scores in the crease. Dubinsky takes a shot, and then Jenner and Atkinson are both there basically competing to see who's going to get their stick on the puck first. Highlight reel? No, it's going to make the highlights, but is it going to make the top 10 plays of the week? No. But is it going to get you a goal that wins you a game? Yes, and that's all that matters, quite frankly. So get back to scoring the ugly goals, the garbage goals, the greasy goals, as Cam Atkinson likes to say. When they were scoring those, they were winning, and they were expecting to win day in and day out. Get back to that expectancy. Have it be, as John Tortorella says, have it be a habit to come in and win games. Make it a habit. Make it be something that just happens, and your mindset is right from the moment you show up, and you just go out and you get the job done. Speaking of getting the job done, David Savard returned from an injury on Saturday against the Detroit Red Wings. He didn't have his greatest game, okay? He took a 4-minute penalty for a high stick in the face that put his team in jeopardy. I'll give you that. But his teammates went out and they killed off that penalty, and it really gave them that final burst that they needed to finish off the Red Wings in that game. But to have David Savard back means the Blue Jackets have their top 6 defensemen healthy once again. Savard was out. Marcus Nudavara was out. They're both back in the lineup right now. And for David Savard, who pairs up with Jack Johnson to anchor down that number 2 defensive pairing, it is imperative that he is in the lineup. I had a chance to talk with David earlier today about the injury, how hard it was to sit out, and how good it is to be back.
David, how nice was it for you to get back into the lineup the other night?
It was great. I feel good, and it's never fun to be on the sideline, but it was good to be back, and obviously to get a big win. It was a lot of fun to be out there, and we'll try to do the same thing tonight.
When you spend so much time out of the lineup, especially with the kind of injury that you had, does it take that first hit to get you kind of settled in, to know you're okay?
Yeah, I mean, like the first few shifts, you're just trying to get back into a game situation. It's hard to do it in practice, and obviously we didn't have much time lately to practice and be with the guys. So, I wanted to get a few good shifts, and after you right back in where you were, and I felt good all game.
How do you keep from driving yourself crazy on an injury like that? Because you were out of the lineup, you actually made a trip, that then they sent you home, you weren't able to played a game, you were back out again. How do you just keep your wits about you?
It's hard. It's not fun, but I just had to stay patient, and obviously you can't push it too much. We were trying to be smart about it, and obviously now I'm back and I feel good, so I think it was worth the wait, but hopefully it doesn't come back.
How happy was Jack Johnson to have you back?
It was good. I think he was happy, and I was happy to be back, and we had some fun, and it was great.
What is it that makes you two so good when you play alongside each other?
I think we've just been playing together for a while now, and we just like playing with each other. I think he's a strong guy, and he's going to get out of trouble even if I do something bad. I think he's always there for me, and I'm trying to do the same thing for him. And we like playing with each other, and I think it shows on the ice how when we're together we skate more, we talk a lot, and I think we're good friends, so it makes it way easier on the ice.
I was going to ask you how much your friendship off the ice plays into the way that you play together.
I think obviously it's a huge difference with being like you get to know him off the ice, and we both have kids, and it's always fun to talk about this and stuff like that with what his daughter doing now and stuff like that. So we go back and forth, and it's been a lot of fun in the last few years.
New York Rangers tonight, they've got speed. They're playing very well right now, and they're also breathing down your necks in the standings. What has to be done by you guys here on home ice tonight?
I think just play our game. I think when we play our game, we can dominate team even if they're top teams. And, it's all about our forecheck, how we're going to forecheck them and play in their zone. And obviously they have some speed, but, if we play down low, I think they it's tough to handle our forwards, and for any team. So I think that's the best way for us to see the game. Just play our game and be physical and play down there.
Dave, thank you very much. Good luck tonight.
Thank you.
The way the Blue Jackets play away from the puck tonight is going to be extremely important, especially with some of those speedy guys that the Rangers have. Talked about that with John Tortorella a little bit ago. Michael Grabner, he's having a great season. And then you've got Chris Kreider. They will slip behind the defense. They will find themselves in one-on-one situations with Sergei Bobrovsky if you are not watching as to what's going on the ice tonight. So it'll be very important for the Blue Jackets to pick those guys up, to know when they're on the ice, and to know exactly what they're doing when they are on the ice. The Rangers is expected to get defenseman Dan Girardi back into the lineup tonight. He's missed the last 2 games because of an ankle injury, but he says it's feeling better, so look for him to play in the game tonight. So that's another top defenseman that is going to be back into the mix for the Rangers here this evening. The Rangers being led by J.T. Miller, believe it or not. He's got the most points on this team, and what a versatile winger and centerman he has turned out to be. He's been playing the wing, and then Kevin Hayes got hurt a couple of weeks ago when the Blue Jackets were at Madison Square Garden, as a matter of fact, and Miller just moved over, and he played in the middle. So he has really been proving himself to be an important part of the New York Rangers puzzle. You've got Matt Zuccarello. He is always dangerous every time that he's on the ice. Small guy. It's like Cam Atkinson. He's a small guy. He finds little openings, and you've got to be aware of him when he is on the ice. When he comes over the boards, you better find him, because he'll disappear quickly, and he's going to show up when he's in a spot where he's feeding somebody a pass that turns into a goal. He's got 30 assists on the year to go with his 11 goals this season. Mentioned Michael Grabner. He's got 26 goals. Can you believe that? This guy was almost an afterthought in this league. I remember when he was in the Vancouver system, he was playing in the American Hockey League for the Manitoba Moose, and Vancouver must kick themselves that he's not playing in Vancouver right now. He played for the Islanders. The Rangers are able to get him and bring him in, and what a job that he has done for them. So there's a lot of dangerous players out there on the ice for the New York Rangers. Haven't even talked about Mark Stahl. Kevin Klein is one of those stay-at-home defenseman kind of guys who all of a sudden will pop in an important goal against you. So there are weapons all over the place for a team that is on a roll. As I told you, they've won 5 straight coming into this one. The Blue Jackets had better be ready to work tonight. They had better be ready to take advantage of playing on home ice. They've got to set the tone. They've got to hit. They've got to outskate the Rangers early in this game. It's as simple as that. They have got to do that. But as John Tortorella said, asking for energy in this game, you don't have to ask. It's the New York Rangers. Guys are ready to go. They will be pumped. They will be excited. How will you handle that? That's the other thing you have to watch, too, because sometimes you take that extra added excitement and you utilize it in the wrong way. They can't be wrong about anything tonight, especially early on. The first goal would help tremendously. They got it against Detroit the other day, and that set the tone. Even when the Red Wings tied the game, they didn't flinch. They eventually came back out, and they went back ahead, and they got the win. So the first goal, especially for this team, and we've talked about it all year, except that back in November, December, and early January, they were getting that first goal, so it wasn't much of a topic of conversation. That's gone away the last couple of weeks. If they can get that first goal tonight and really kind of get themselves locked in here, that will be huge. And forget about the last time these two teams played when the Blue Jackets went up 6-0 at Madison Square Garden, because they had to hold on and win 6-4. And it's really the way the Rangers ended that game. That's how they've been playing since the Blue Jackets saw them last. They've been playing with that same type of tenacity and putting pucks in the back of the net. So this is going to be a challenge tonight. It's a team that sits 2 points behind you in the standings. We are getting to that point of the year where you start to look at those standings and look at where those other teams are and figure out how you widen the gap and stay ahead of them, keeping them further behind you. That's got to be the mindset of the Blue Jackets tonight. Tonight's game will start at 7:30 at Nationwide Arena. That's right, we'll start 30 minutes later than normal because of the national television broadcast. That means that pregame coverage on the Blue Jackets radio network will come your way beginning at 7:15 tonight. And you can hear the game in Columbus on the flagship station of the Blue Jackets radio network, 97.1 The Fan. You can also get the game through the NHL app. You can find it on the Blue Jackets channel on the TuneIn app, or you can get the game at BlueJackets.com. Rangers making their final trip to Columbus this year to take on the Blue Jackets. A huge Metropolitan Division matchup tonight. Puck drops at 7:30. Until then, I'm Bob McElligott saying so long.